Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. What an episode! But before I get into my review, if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. I summarize and review the latest Bayanlış and Sençal Kapımı episodes. Say what I liked, what I didn't like, what I think might happen next. If you like these kinds of videos, like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe so we can meet on a weekly basis. Before I get into the main storyline, let's talk a little bit about the others. First, we have Alptekin and Aydan. As we already know, Alptekin has a new secretary. Aydan is still very jealous, not liking the fact that the new secretary is quite young, dresses in her eyes not very appropriate for the job. So she always gets annoyed when she calls Alptekin and she sees the secretary in the background, even though the secretary is quite nice, so she doesn't overstep any boundaries. But Aydan is still very jealous. To make Alptekin jealous, she wants someone new and tells Seyfi to find someone. They have quite a hard time, but then Seyfi has the idea to just hire an actor and he plays whatever part Aydan wants. So Aydan wants to do pottery with him. Alptekin in the meantime has a plan on his own. He tells Aydan that he won't be able to come for dinner but wants to surprise her with flowers. He goes home. In the meantime, he sent the message to Aydan that he won't be home while Aydan was preparing with the actor, and that is the guy who I thought in my last review that he will be the brother, but he's just the actor who helps Aydan to get Alptekin jealous. So she starts getting all dirty, cozying up to him, trying to do the pottery while Seyfi is reading the message that Alptekin is not coming home. Aydan gets really sad and frustrated. Once again, Alptekin not coming home, blah blah blah, I'm so pathetic. What I thought was quite nice is for the actor to feel kind of for her and to try to help her and motivate her, and that's when he actually takes her hand. Alptekin is coming with the flowers and I thought, oh my god, it's so cute, but the wrong time. And he sees Aydan with that young guy holding hands and just talking, him basically motivating her, but Alptekin doesn't know that. So he gets really sad, puts the flowers on the table and just walks off. That evening, he kind of asks Aydan what's up with that guy. Aydan puts two and two together and then she pushes even further to make him more jealous, and there's this back and forth kind of between them. But after Aydan goes, Alptekin starts laughing, so I think he kind of likes the fact that Aydan is trying to make him jealous, just trying to keep him on his toes. If we look back, he changed his style because Aydan told Serkan that he's quite boring and doing the same routine over and over again. So it was her input that he changed. Now it's also her actions, like her being jealous of the secretary, that he tried to bring her flowers, tried to spend more time with her. So it's always Aydan's actions and Alptekin is kind of reacting to it. So I'm really interested to see what other things Aydan will do and how Alptekin will react. The next storyline we have Engin, Ceren and Pırıl. As I said, the complicated love triangle. What we see is Engin trying to act normally, trying to talk to Pırıl, but he sees that she's showing him the cold shoulder. She doesn't care about anything what he says, and she's still kind of hurt and annoyed with him because that's the way he is, bailing on people. And then he calls Ceren asking for help, but she's also angry. So what I thought was really funny is the fact that he said to Serkan that he's the master of apologies, but then when it comes to himself, he doesn't know how to apologize because he's trying to act normal, but he doesn't really apologize. So Ceren tries to tell him, well, you're really oblivious, you have to apologize for the things you've done. And then he actually asks Pırıl out. And when they're at the restaurant, Pırıl is eating. Engin hasn't touched his food, is looking around. I was like, okay, is he looking if people are seeing him with Pırıl? But then Pırıl asks him, why didn't you eat? And he said, oh, I'm waiting for someone. And then Ceren comes and I'm like, oh my god, you can't be serious. You can't invite Ceren to your apology meal with Pırıl. Why would you do that? Pırıl gets so angry, so annoyed, and it was so awkward. I was cringing inside. And then he said, well, because I need to apologize to both of you, why not do it at the same time? And I was like, you can't do this. And Pırıl gets so fed up that she just leaves and Ceren goes after her. So Engin is just left sitting there, not really solving the problem. So I'm really interested to see how he will apologize to them, because my friend, you haven't done quite a good job in apologizing, and you call yourself the master of apology. So now we can move on to the Eda and Serkan storyline, which is kind of connected to the Ferit and Celine one. So the episode starts with Celine dropping the bomb, saying that they want to get married in a week. Serkan is just shocked. And then we see this flashback how Ferit actually convinced Celine to accept his proposal. What I didn't quite understand was, I don't know if it was lost in translation, or, I mean, Celine kind of understood that Ferit wants to break up, but then he comes up with the plan and is like, either we break up or we break Serkan up. So I'm like, do you want to destroy him? I don't really understand. Like, try to make Serkan jealous? Like, I didn't quite understand his thought process, but apparently Celine understood and she accepted the proposal. And then him saying, I love you, we should do this, we should get married, blah blah blah, and we should get married in a week, but up until the wedding day we should go to Italy. So I was like, are you trying to get away from Serkan so Celine wouldn't be kind of persuaded to reconsider this marriage proposal? I don't know what his thought was really, but yeah, Celine accepted the proposal. Serkan gets really angry, really annoyed, and kind of says that Eda is only thinking about the contract and don't worry, this contract will end in a week, blah blah blah. So I don't think he got angry for the fact that Celine and Ferit are getting married. I think this was also kind of a part of his anger, but the biggest part of his anger was the fact that the contract between him and Eda is ending so early and he can't spend more time with her. So the fear of him losing Eda in a week is bigger and getting him more angry than the fact that Celine is marrying Ferit. Then Eda asks if he wants to break up Celine, and then answers herself and is like, well, you can't do anything about it anymore because they're getting married. And then Serkan gets kind of frustrated and is answering quite sarcastically and is like, well, you know me so well. So this reaction kind of shows that he has no feelings for Celine. The fact that he doesn't like Ferit, it doesn't have to do anything with his feelings towards Celine, but more with his business. And then Eda is telling him that it's not that hard to tell a woman to stay, and then they look at each other, and I think that Eda was actually hoping for Serkan to tell her please stay, but Serkan just says that he only wants for Celine to stay here so they don't go to Italy, so him and Eda can work on a plan how to break Celine up. He also sends her to Aydan to help her with the plan. Eda meets up with Aydan. Aydan is very shocked by the news that Celine is actually getting married, and because she knows that Serkan won't be able to tell Celine what he feels, she tells Eda to kind of confuse Celine with her feelings towards Ferit, and also kind of showing Celine that Eda is above her styling wise. So that's how she helps Eda, by changing her style, being more chic, more business-like kind of. And what got me really emotional was the fact that Eda actually asked Aydan, if there wasn't a contract between me and Serkan and he would bring me as his girlfriend, would you actually accept me? Would you love me? And then Aydan says, even though you make some bad decisions or you have some bad habits, you're a good girl. And then she takes her hand, and got so emotional. And then Aydan asks her if she would hold her hand even after the contract. And God, you can't do this to me. Then we see Serkan waiting for Eda at the holding, Eda coming with this new style, him checking her out, liking what he sees. But every time he compliments her, he's always bringing up work or saying that, like when she arrived, he said perfect, and then she was like, perfect what? And then he answers perfectly on time. I was like, why can't you just tell her that she looks perfect for you? Why can't you just admit it? So if you look closely, every time he compliments her, he's kind of trying to downplay it, not to open himself up that much, and kind of saying he meant something different. So like I said, perfectly on time, or when she has that pink dress on, something like breathtaking, but then he says that the dress is breathtaking and not her. I was like, God. Serkan, why are you doing this? Back to them being at the holding. They actually are there. So Serkan gives Celine a prenup for her and Ferit to sign because he doesn't want Ferit to be able to take control over the holding by marrying Celine. Celine was like, oh my god, I can't do this. This will offend Ferit, blah blah blah. But then Eda steps in and is like, well, I signed the contract as well. And Serkan is like, what? So he was so blindsided, and you can really see from his reaction. Celine not really buying it, like, why would you sign a contract? Because at first she was like, what contract did you sign? The chocolate contract? And that got Eda even more angry. And then the bomb dropped. She said, well, we are also getting married. I was like, what? Why did you say that? Celine was really shocked and then was like, okay, I will think about it. Okay, we can do this, blah blah blah. So she's kind of compromising. Serkan was really shocked. He didn't like it at all. In the meantime, what I forgot to mention is that because Ceren was so angry at Engin, she said that all men are the same. I don't know exactly what she said, but the main thing is that it slipped that Eda and Serkan's engagement is fake. She immediately caught herself and stopped. Engin was quite confused, was like, what are you telling me? He didn't understand anything. And then she says, just ask your friend. So Ceren confesses to Eda. Eda is like, what else can you do? In a week the contract is over, so he has to deal with it. Engin is still very confused, but after some time he puts two and two together. All the times he said something about love and the answers Serkan gave him, so he kind of understood, because when Eda and Serkan come back from the holding, they go to Serkan's place. Oh, before that, she has to tell Aydan about the fact that so Serkan and Eda are also getting married. Aydan loses it when Eda was talking to Serkan about the wedding dresses, because Aydan will help them with the stylist, with the decoration and everything, and while Serkan is working, Celine and Eda will try on some wedding dresses. Erdem hears it, tells it to Leyla. Leyla is like, I believe the proposal was through email. I laughed so much. Engin is then trying to get some information from Serkan, saying, well, aren't we best friends? We tell each other everything, blah blah blah. So Serkan is kind of avoiding it and doesn't give him any information. After that conversation, he puts two and two together. In the meantime, like I said, Celine and Eda are trying wedding dresses. Even Aydan is amazed by how good Eda looks in those dresses, but she focuses more on Celine and also tells those two girls who were in charge of this whole fitting to focus more on Celine. So when Eda and Celine are outside in those dresses, Eda is actually telling Celine, well, she doesn't know about Serkan's feelings, if he's just engaged to her in spite of Celine. So Celine is kind of confused why Eda would say something like that, because Aydan actually told Eda to confuse Celine, to tell her that Serkan likes her, blah blah blah, so to question her decision to marry Ferit. Oh, before that, well, I forgot, still at the holding, Ferit comes and Celine tells Ferit about Eda and Serkan getting married as well. Them making fun, being like, oh, we'll have a double wedding, blah blah blah. Serkan is still not very amused, but still happy that only the four of them know. But Celine is actually telling Melek about the wedding. Melek, of course, the loose mouth, tells everybody, like the girls and Ayfer. Ayfer just faints as soon as she hears it. Is then kind of disappointed with Eda, why she still has to hear those important informations from other people and not from Eda herself. Back to the holding, Melek then mentions an interview. Celine says she cancelled it. Serkan doesn't know why, so she questions her. Celine says, well, you don't really like interviews. Eda comes up with the idea to do the interview, all four of them together. So they kind of have to show the press that they get along, but that interview is actually when Ferit and Celine would have been in Italy. So Celine then tells Melek to cancel the flight to Italy, and that's when she tells her about the wedding of Eda and Serkan. Back to the dress fitting. So Celine goes back inside when Eda has that pink dress on. Aydan wants to go after Celine, but thanks Eda for what she told Celine and for the help she's she's giving them. That's when Serkan appears, says that she looks breathtaking, but then says that the dress is breathtaking. And I was like, Serkan, why can't you just say, Eda, you look breathtaking? But no. And then him saying, one day when you'll be a bride, and then stops and they're looking at each other. Just tell her what you're feeling. But no, she walks away. But before that, he's actually talking to Alptekin, and Alptekin says that yes, Serkan was right about Ferit, but at the same time not, because Serkan should give Ferit a chance because Ferit brought a big deal for the holding, so Serkan should give him a chance. But Serkan is like, I don't think so. After that, we have Engin and Serkan talking. Engin asking Serkan what's up between him and Eda, because Ceren already told him. Because at first Serkan was like, what are you talking about? But then opens up to Engin. And then Engin still pressing about the fact that Eda looked at Serkan with so much love, and he also looked at her with so much love. So Serkan was like, well, it was just an act, we're just good actors, blah blah blah. And Engin is like, I don't think so, because I haven't seen you laugh that much and be so happy in a very long time, so you can't really blame it on an act. And the best thing was when Engin was like, what do you want? Do you want Celine? Are you kidding me? And I had the same reaction. I was like, are you kidding me? You choose Celine over Eda? Really? But then Serkan comes up with this explanation being like, she's the most reasonable one for me, and Engin is like, just listen to your heart for once in your life. Eda is still angry at Melek for telling Ayfer and just blabbering it out. The phone rings. Serkan is actually outside and asks Eda to come downstairs. Melek is kind of happy and tells Eda, well, look at him. Now he doesn't even need to pretend to walk his dog when he wants to see you. I laughed so much. And then when Eda went to go get ready, she told Serkan, she's still angry with me. Please get her to not be angry with me anymore. It was hilarious. And then Eda comes downstairs. He starts questioning her why she told Ceren. She's like, well, I'm not a businesswoman. I can't really keep secrets that well, so what's the big deal? Well, now Engin knows and blah blah blah. So they start fighting. I was like, this is getting really frustrating for me. Them constantly fighting, not really saying what they feel of. And then when he wants to drive away, he tells her to go inside, so you can still see through that anger he still cares for her, so she wouldn't be outside by herself. I thought it was quite adorable. Then we have Kaan actually giving Ferit a folder. Celine sees it, is not very pleased by the fact that Kaan is here, so she's kind of frustrated with Ferit. Serkan picks Eda up, likes the outfit, once again tries to downplay his compliment, and then she's like, well, where are we going? To the holding? And then she's like, what are we doing there? And then he says, well, you're my wife, you should be by my side supporting me. And she was so affected by that statement. She was like, what? But then you could really see her liking the fact that he called her wife. Anyways, they go to the holding, they have this meeting, Ferit presenting this deal or this project that he got, and Serkan is not really pleased, and that guy said that it's under his conditions, and Serkan says, no, thank you, but no, we won't accept. And Ferit is like, what? Why? After that guy goes, so Serkan is like, look at number 2, blah blah blah, we won't do this under this condition, this will be a loss for us. So he points out all the wrong things that Ferit did and didn't really read through, so you could really see that Ferit was trying to harm the holding. I really liked Alptekin being all smug, kind of proud of his son for seeing Serkan being so business savvy and really seeing through things. You could really see that Ferit was humiliated and didn't like the fact that Serkan was behaving like that and showing him all the wrong things he did. They all go outside. Kaan is waiting. Nobody knows why he's there. He says that he sold his company to Ferit for a great price and that Serkan won and he was defeated. He has nothing else to lose. He sold his company to Ferit. Celine doesn't like this at all. That's when she says, okay, now you have to sign that contract, because Serkan was right. At first I didn't really like that idea, but now you opened my eyes, you have to sign that contract. Ferit gets kind of annoyed and is like, how can you do that without really asking me why I had to buy from Kaan, blah blah blah. And then he tells her the story that Kaan had that recording. So I think that Ferit didn't really want to buy that company, but because he had that recording, he was kind of forced to buy it. I think Kaan was like, I will delete this recording if you buy my company, and that's what Ferit did. And then he tells Celine that I protected you, blah blah blah. And then she gets all mushy, oh my god, thank you so much, blah blah blah. And I don't know, did they really sign? I don't think that he signed. Then we see Serkan having a talk with Engin and Ceren having a talk with Eda. Both of them talking about the other couple, kind of. So the girls talking about the guys talking about the girls, which I thought was really funny. And then Ceren and Eda kind of come up with the idea to get Celine and Serkan alone together. But then Eda is like, well, Ferit doesn't really leave her side. So Ceren is like, well, he doesn't really need to leave her side. So Eda comes up with the idea to invite them to the mountain house. She calls Serkan. Serkan fakes being busy. Then Eda tells him that she wants to talk face to face. He's like, no, we can do it over the phone. She's like, no, meet me at the mountain house. He gets really confused. When he arrives there, she's like, please don't get angry, but I also invited Ferit and Celine over here because before the interview we should get to know each other. While they're waiting for Celine and Ferit, they sit outside and kind of open up to each other. Serkan starts and thanks Eda for what she did for Aydan and that it means a lot to him. He also says that he's kind of sad that he can't help Eda with her claustrophobia because he wanted to have more time to help her with that problem. Then he asks her how this all started. So she then opens up, says that her parents went away for an anniversary trip. She was left with Ayfer. She actually prepared presents and pictures for her parents to come back. She played in a big cupboard in the hallway and only heard Ayfer scream when she got the call that Eda's parents died. Serkan thinks it was a car crash, but it was actually a wall falling on them at that place they were staying. I think that moment not only caused her to get claustrophobia because she said she was so scared she held her breath and then fainted. I think that moment also led her to be an architect because she's like, I don't want for other people to suffer like I did, so I will build safer houses. She didn't really say it, but I think that's the reason why she wants to be an architect, why she went that path. Then Serkan takes her in his arms and is like, she's a very strong and incredible woman, blah blah blah. And God. But who comes? Celine and Ferit. I was like, you could have waited a couple more minutes because maybe we would have gotten a kiss, but no, we didn't. Once again, we still have to wait. And it was so awkward when Celine and Ferit came because Celine was like, oh my god, there are so many memories in this house, and Ferit is looking at her and I was like, oh my god, Celine, what did you say? And then she's like, oh, we came here quite often in my childhood, that's what I meant, blah blah blah. Anyways, they ask each other questions and it got quite tense quite quickly. It was also quite awkward, so I think they were just going through some interview questions to practice the answers they will give. Then we have Serkan and Eda by the fire. Eda saying that he fits with Celine very well, and then he asks her, why do you keep pushing me towards Celine and saying that I'm in love with her? And Eda is like, well, it's because that's the reason for the contract. And Serkan is like, no. And then Eda asks Serkan if he's in love with Celine, but he can't answer because Ferit and Celine are coming from a walk and Celine wants to go through some business stuff, some stock numbers or I don't know what, and Eda leaves them by themselves and takes Ferit outside. While she's outside with Ferit, Ferit kind of makes sure that his secret is safe with Eda about the press thing. Then we see Serkan and Celine talk. Celine asking Serkan why he doesn't want her to get married. Serkan says because he doesn't trust Ferit. And then she gets kind of frustrated and says that he always wants to have control over everything and why is he that way. But his phone rings and the only answer he gives her is, I said what I had to say, you can understand whatever you want. And then he starts talking to Engin because Engin is so frustrated he was left at the restaurant around and Celine walks away but is listening to Serkan. Serkan is actually talking about Eda when he says, well, he can't make somebody stay if they don't want to stay. Engin telling him that he would die if Eda would leave him because he's so in love with her. And while Serkan is saying all those things, I mean, from her perspective, I kind of understand why she understood it that way, because she thinks that Serkan is actually talking about her, because they also have had this relationship topic, so it kind of makes sense. But looking from an outside perspective, seeing what Serkan is actually talking about with Engin, I was like, really, you should have mentioned Eda. But Celine still thinks that it's her. Then we have Serkan going to Eda, watching her sleep, then saying something like, good night Eda Yıldız, you will fall like a star, or something like that. I don't know, was it poetic? Did it have any meaning? I don't know. Maybe it had for her, because after he walks away, she opens her eyes and looks after him, and I was like, okay, do I have to understand what he just said? I don't know. Anyways, the next day, Ferit and Celine see Serkan sleeping on the couch. Ferit is kind of making fun of him, asking if there's trouble in paradise, because why would Serkan sleep on the couch by himself? And Serkan is like, no, I had to work, blah blah blah. After that, they're ready for the interview. He watches Eda walking down the stairs, being amazed how she looks. Then they have this interview, and the interviewer is asking Eda how she would describe Serkan in one word, and she says love. And then Serkan says love at first sight, and then the interviewer asks Ferit, and Ferit is like, we're happy and together, what else do you want? And I was like, well, now you see that there's not really a lot of love between them, if any. Eda goes and changes. Then we see Serkan talking to Celine, or more like Celine telling Serkan that she listened to his call with Engin, and she's like, if there's any chance of us getting together in the future, tell me now and I will immediately break up with Ferit. Eda actually sees and listens to them. Serkan doesn't answer, sees Eda, and I was like, oh God, are you kidding me? Please say the right answer. And then the screen went black, and I was like, you can't do this to me. That's the end. Thank God we got a trailer. We have Eda telling Serkan that you can't make somebody stay by offering them a job, but by telling them not to go. And then Serkan saying, well, it's not my part to tell somebody to stay or to go. And I was like, bro, you already told her once, git. So you can actually stay. Please stay, because go, you already said that once. Then we have Eda calling Serkan goodbye. Serkan watching Eda saying goodbye to the girls. Then we have Serkan having a fever dream, kind of, saying, let me come with you. And Eda looking at him, kind of worried about him. So I do think that either he drank way too much, got drunk, and is talking in his dreams, or he's really having a fever, because his neck was kind of wet. So I don't know if it's from a wet towel or it's sweat. I don't know. And I do think that either Seyfi, Aydan or Engin will call Eda to come to Serkan and kind of talk to him, calm him down, whatever. And the last scene, what we see is Eda and Celine talking. Eda telling Celine that Serkan loves her, and then Celine being quite shocked and saying, well, you're his fiance. And Eda is like, I'm not. I'm so confused. Like, there is so much misunderstanding in this series. But anyways, I'm really excited for next episode. I think I said everything. I think I predicted everything that I could. I hope I didn't forget anything. If I did, I'm really sorry. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this amazing episode. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring that bell to be notified whenever I post something, and I will see you next time. Bye!